I've wanted to do paranormal investigations for a long time. And what better place to start than where I live? I start going over the evidence and it's just, like the battery just drops. As if something is mimicking that clapping game from The Conjuring. I've talked about or mentioned that we have weird things going on in the house. And by weird, I mean paranormal. We have heard footsteps going up and down the stairs. So clear, in fact, that like we'll think somebody is coming down the stairs, one of our kids or anything, and then just nobody's there. We've heard disembodied voices, as if someone is standing at the bottom of the stairs and they say something and we hear it like echo up pretty much. We've heard knocks on doors, pretty much almost anything that you think of with paranormal stuff. It's happened. But now I have some evidence, and we're going to go over it. Oh, I'm definitely going to need a lot of coffee for this one. Now, before we jump into this, I want to say this is all going to be audio recording because my local library actually had a ghost hunting kit, pretty much. So you got a little audio recorder here, a little IR camera there, which, stay tuned, is all I'm going to say. So what I did was I left this in the hallway at the top of the stairs because that area of the house is where we seem to get a lot of activity, whether it's footsteps or movement or really anything. So yeah, I left it there overnight and I caught some stuff. So this first one is really interesting because years ago, and when I've talked about it with disembodied voices, it's a voice that just kind of comes out of nowhere and there's no one you can really attribute it to. Years ago, I heard a little girl in the house. My kids were in bed, but it was one of those things where you hear somebody talking but you can't really make it what they're saying. And this was the first piece of evidence, I guess, that I caught on the recorder. Now, to me, it sounds very clearly like a little girl saying, "Daddy, what are you doing?" What? Okay. This was full when I started recording. Now I'm getting a low battery flashing on it. What? I start going over the evidence and it's just, like the battery just drops. I'm going to, I guess, switch to my phone for the rest of the video. And charge my camera again. It's really weird. Alright, we've switched over to the phone. It's at like 85%, so there's no reason I should get low battery anything with this. Keep moving forward. Okay, so like I was saying, to me it clearly sounds like a little girl saying, "Daddy, what are you doing?" The weird thing about the voice is when it gets that "what are you doing," it's almost like it got like overlaid with each other. Like there's like the vocals got doubled up. And if anybody wants to see, I have not touched or edited this at all. The only thing I've done is raised the volume on it and tried to like, I guess, denoise it a little bit just because like, you know, it little chilly in Canada like at this time, so like heat and stuff was going in the house. Other than that, there's been nothing done. It is just one solid audio timeline in the editing program. The other thing that's weird about this one, so out of my 3 kids, the only one who calls me daddy still is my youngest daughter. And she wasn't here. We have her like on the weekends and stuff. This was done on a Thursday night, maybe a Wednesday. Either way, it was done during the week. So she was not here. I don't know. Either way, it's pretty interesting if you ask me. So this next clip is, I honestly don't know how to describe it really. It almost sounds like there's 2 claps, and then you hear like somebody singing. I don't know. Just take a listen. Now, the singing voice, it very well could have been my oldest was watching something on their phone or something, like while they were laying down. I don't know. But the clapping noises are going to come back around. So this next one is going to be one of many. I think for some of the just like knocking and stuff, I might just kind of let a few of them play through and then we'll talk about it. But this was the first one. And any like knocking or like the later on the loud banging noises, I've tried to replicate it. I've done my best to debunk things. I couldn't do it. The only way for some of the really loud knocking that you'll hear is if I was on the other side of one of my kids' like bedroom doors and like kept pushing their door and shaking it so it was banging off the door frame. Other than that, couldn't do it. Couldn't replicate it. So this one, I don't know what the noise is. Worst paranormal investigator ever. But it's almost like it was something like a ball was bouncing, or if somebody like was like knocking gently or whatever. But like, I don't know. Hold on. But like, it's not just like one or two like knocks. Like you kind of hear a few of them. So it could have been that, or I don't know, footsteps. If it's footsteps, I get it, because we've had that happen a lot. But for some reason that freaks me out a little bit. Okay, this one gave me the spookums a little bit while I was going over this at first. And also, look, because this is recording overnight, some people were sleeping. I'm not going to say who, but there was some snoring and sleeping noises, unfortunately. But if you listen past that, you can very clearly hear a woman singing. I showed my oldest the clip, and I asked them, like, were you listening to any like sort of music or anything that sounds like this, like with somebody singing like this? They did not. While this was happening, they were listening to like a 2000s pop hits playlist pretty much in their headphones. So I have no idea what that singing was or where it was coming from. This one is like, I don't know why I don't like this one, to be honest. I think it's because it sounds like the door, like one of the bedroom doors upstairs gets like shook a little bit or whatever, and then you hear very clearly, to me at least, like a doorknob getting like fiddled with a little bit, and then it's like it whatever was there was trying to open the bedroom doors. Not cool. So the way I'm doing this video is I have my program open right here, and I'm like playing it to keep it fresh in my memory here, and then I can talk about it as you guys are hearing it, like without any of the video audio here. This is what we're looking at. No other effects to anything, just one thing. Now this next clip, I don't know. This next clip is one of the ones I posted on my Instagram story, and I'm going to play it for you, and then I'll talk about it. That is a very clear help. Almost like as if somebody is out of breath or they're straining and they're saying, help. What's interesting, just before you hear that help, when I listen to it on my speakers or in headphones, so if you're watching this just on your phone or on TV, it might not be picked up as well. There is like an interference or like a slight like noise from the recorder itself. And it doesn't happen except for like during this clip and I think one other clip. It almost sounds like a small like electrical interference or something like that. And there's no electronics where I had everything set up. So yeah, I feel like I keep saying what's interesting and everything. I don't know how else to describe this kind of stuff. This is also the first time I've ever done a video like this, so just bear with me, fine hooligans. But one thing we do know is a lady who lived in this house passed away. And it took a little bit, unfortunately, to get to her and like get her out of the house because she was a hoarder. So she had a lot of stuff there. And I guess for a while, it actually took people a little bit to realize that she had passed. And then it took a little bit to actually be able to get to her and bring her out. I don't know if this is her. If it is, it actually kind of makes me feel a little sad because it was almost like her asking for help. Now, there's going to be there's also a couple of like audio recordings in this that I feel like, and I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to throw shade at anybody, but if certain other YouTuber paranormal people heard them, immediately they're going to start putting on some like more negative like context to it and everything. For me, there's certain things that I feel like I don't feel there's any negative spirits here. We don't have any like of that type of activity. If anything, I think some of the spirits here have almost like they either are connected to each other somehow, or they like have become connected to each other over time, if that makes sense. I don't know how the spirit world works. I'm just, you know what I mean? Oh, okay. This clip, I'm honestly, every time I hear this clip, like I get goosebumps, because the weekend previous to me doing all this and setting everything up, we had my youngest over for a visit, and she wanted to watch the first Conjuring movie. Now, if you remember from that movie, they play a certain game.
First clap!
This clip, after showing like the Conjuring, I'm just gonna play the clip. That, to me, is a very clear, and I have tried to figure out what that sound could be in my house. There's nothing. None of the doors hitting off of a door frame sound like that. Like that is just very clearly 2 claps. As if something is mimicking that clapping game from The Conjuring. They came back. So this one is just like someone almost like knocking, like kind of thing. I don't know. I just can't explain some of these things. And honestly, I probably should have said this in the beginning of the video, because there's probably going to be a lot of people who don't even watch up till this point. Do I believe in the paranormal or other things? Yes. But also, am I slightly a skeptic about a lot of things? Yes. That's why with certain, like, all these things that I heard, as far as like the knocking and all that kind of thing, I immediately was like, okay, let's go try to replicate that and figure out what it was. So then, you know, one, I can very easily be like, oh, okay, well, this noise was that. I don't need to include it in the video or whatever it is. There's certain things, as far as investigation, like tools or whatever that people use, that I don't think are real. To be honest with you, I'm just going to say it. The dowsing rod things, that's been shown that like you angle your hand in or like you tilt it a bit and the rod is going to move on its own. No one, and the problem is with those kind of things, no one stands perfectly still. It's kind of like the same thing, like with a pendulum, or yeah, pendulum. You have these tiny muscular movements that you're not even aware of when it's happening. So the only way that I would trust like the pendulum thing is if somebody isn't holding it. Like I've seen some that come with like a little hook kind of thing that you can set it on. I'd be interested to see some like footage with that done, but I don't trust it when other people are holding it. Because again, little movements from your hand or your arm or anything, and it's going to move. You know, I'm a believer, but I'm also a skeptic. I like to figure out the logical explanation behind it first before just going, oh, it's a ghost, or oh, this is paranormal, or like can't be explained. This next one is, I keep going for interesting, and I don't know why. But let me play it. Hear a man's voice saying, "Get over here." What's fascinating about that, at least, is that little girl in the first clip, and then you get this voice saying, "Get over here." It almost feels like a father-daughter kind of thing, where it's like Like I've been out with my kids or whatever where I'm, they start walking off in a store or something a little bit, and you're just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, get over here, kind of thing. I don't think it's anything like, demonic or evil saying like, get over here or whatever. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing where you have this little girl saying, Daddy, what are you doing? And then his voice telling her to get over here. And like, I don't know. The weird situation, I guess, in my head is almost like they're not used to the recorder or something different being on the like in the upstairs hallway, and it's like she was asking, what are you doing, when he starts going to like see what it is, and then she gets curious after that and starts going to check it out for herself, and he's like, hey, like, get over here, like, you stay with me, kind of thing. I don't know. So this next clip is just a really small, like a really quick one. It's just that those electrical like interference noises I had mentioned earlier on the clip of the voice saying help. You hear it just before that, but in this one you hear it more clearly. So in this one, I don't know how nobody woke up during it. Like, these are some loud knocks, and then it gradually quiets down, kind of thing. Like, I don't know how my kids didn't wake up. I don't know how I didn't wake up, like nothing, because that's loud. Um, Super weird. This next clip I'm going to show you is honestly why, while filming this, I took a break and went and made another coffee. You hear footsteps, like somebody walking around, and then you hear the very clear clapping again. Have a listen. And I asked my kids, did either of you guys wake up last night, and like walk around the recorder or whatever? Neither of them even knew I put it there. So there's that. And also, I don't know why they would have woken up and decided just to clap. There is just one little fly that's been flying around. I don't know where you've come from, but go away. It's not time for you. It's time for me to go over evidence and show people. With this one, in the beginning of the clip, you can hear a voice ask, what is that? And then it's these like little knocking noises. I keep saying knocking noise because I don't know what it is. For all I know, it could be footsteps or I don't know. But either way, you hear somebody say, what is that? And then like these little like knocking noises and stuff. What they were asking, what is that to? I don't know. Okay, this one, I have racked my brain about what it is saying, and I can't figure it out. It wasn't until I was reading Stalker by Lars Kepler, and one of the characters who was a preacher says something in Latin, and he says pace. Because that was the one thing I could make out from this was pace, which apparently is Latin for peace. But I cannot make out what is said like before that, like the words leading up to it. This clip, it's more knocking because that happens a lot apparently. But it also sounds like doors open after like the doorknobs get like kind of like turned and stuff a bit. Okay, now this last clip. It sounds like a door gets closed, like more doorknobs getting like jiggled and turned. And then you hear again that very clear electrical like interference noise, which I have no idea what it is. I can't explain it. So, what I found with these clips, I'm not really sure. I mean, there's definitely voices and knocks and bumps in the night and creepy clapping and interference, but I just, you know what I mean? I guess when I said that I was going to do this, I didn't really expect, like, I guess to find anything. I knew we had stuff going on in the house. We have for years. But I honestly didn't know what was going to come of it. I didn't know if like I was going to actually capture anything or whatever. And it turns out that it did. And like even sitting down to record this video, like things go wrong with my camera and all that. It's just it's an interesting time. But it doesn't stop there, hooligans. No. This was but the tip of the iceberg. I've wanted to do paranormal investigations for a long time. And what better place to start than where I live? Do the intro for it. We'll see. Either way, last night I set up the IR camera at the bottom of the stairs looking up towards it, and I set up the audio recorder again, but also had another extra little tool trick up my sleeve. That's right. I came prepared with some extra stuff. I mean, it's nothing fancy, to be honest with you. You'll see that in the video that comes after this or whatever. But I decided before I got to bring back the kit to my beautiful local library, I am going to do a 2-night collection of evidence. Last night was night 1. Tonight will be night 2. And we'll see what happens. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to capture anything on the IR camera or anything like that. Audio recorder seems to work pretty well, though. So there's that. Either way, I hope you folks enjoyed. If there's anything that you hear during these recordings or anything that you catch that I might not have or I didn't mention, throw it in the comments below. And honestly, if you want to see more like stuff like this is something I wanted to do for a very long time. Paranormal investigating has been something I've wanted to do for so long. I was supposed to actually be like go and do some at the beginning of 2020, and then 2020 happened. But either way, I appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to see more of this kind of thing, let me know, because I have no problems doing this at all. So, mucho love, fine hooligans. Mucho love, fine hooligans. All my quiet kids, freaks, and weirdos, for the love of everybody, keep being weird.